I'm sure many of you were here during the live stream I just did covering Samsung's Unpacked event for August 2022, where they announced a whole bunch of things like the Z Flip 4 and the Z Fold 4. But just in case you missed it, here's kind of a truncated version of what got announced. And we're going to start off with sort of maybe the least exciting things first and work our way up to the most exciting things. So let's start off by talking about the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. These are their new top of the line flagship earbuds. They're going to be starting off at $229.99, but of course there are trade-ins and some bundle deals that you can do. Now these are supposed to be an upgrade, like I said, to their Buds 2 that came out last year. They're touting apparently an improved active noise cancellation experience. They weren't terrible on the Buds 2, but apparently these are supposed to be even better. They're also supposed to have the ability, if we scroll down here, to actually detect someone talking and then go to a conversation mode that then shuts off ANC, turns on the volumes of your buds and puts it in ambient mode. So basically you're listening to music, ANC's on, then it hears you trying to talk to somebody and it's going to intelligently switch to a mode that is going to be a better fit for that exact scenario. So you don't have to, sit there and try and switch modes manually. That is a cool feature to see, although I will say that I've seen similar things in other earbuds and I generally don't like it. I have a tendency to hum to myself or whatever while I'm have earbuds in, and that would often be detected and it would switch the mode on me. So if Samsung can get this better, this might be a pretty good experience, but that will have to be something that has to be found out. It does have compatibility for their Smart Things Find, so if you lose them, there's a map. It'll actually tell you like the last place that your phone detected your earbuds being nearby, so you could go back and actually retrieve them. So that's pretty cool. Of course, it's got the new pairing look here that Android has. That's good to see. You're also able to sync it up to your Samsung television as well, and it can actually multi-point. It can switch between them. They showed a demo of someone listening to their television to not disturb someone else in the house. They get a phone call, they answer it, it switches to the phone call, they hang up, it goes back to the television. So that is also good stuff. They're also IPX7 water resistant, so they're good up to 3 feet for half an hour. Not the best waterproofing, but for earbuds, not too bad. So I would love to show you the same listing here on the Galaxy Watch 5, but their servers are being hammered to the extent that I can't actually get that page to load. So I guess we're just going to use GSM Arena and try and get some information here. So this is a Galaxy Watch 5. I think it looks pretty slick. It's kind of a minimal look. The bezels are relatively small. Obviously, you got a round screen, a couple of buttons there on the side, 1.4-inch screen, 1.5 GB of RAM, 410 milliamp hours in terms of the battery is pretty good. We do have sapphire here as the glass on the screen. For the Pro, it is a pretty similar look, but man, a 590 milliamp hour battery is really, really nice to have. Sadly, neither one of these has Samsung's long lauded rotating bezel. That seems to have gone the way of the Dodo. The Verge here has some more information. So the Watch 5 has a 40 and 44 millimeter version. The Pro only has a single 45 millimeter version. They both have the same Exynos W920 processor, which should be pretty solid. Specs internally are the same. We do have the new 3-in-1 bioactive sensor, which we got back in the Watch 4, which has ECG, heart rate, body composition analysis, lots of good stuff there. GPS, contactless payment, optional LTE, Bluetooth 5.2, Wi-Fi, all kinds of great stuff there. IP68 dust and water resistance is also solid. Although I think one of the biggest things with the Watch 5 is simply the battery. All around the battery is considerably larger. In fact, the 5 Pro is rated for 80 hours or 20 hours of continuous GPS. You're going to be looking at like $279 for the standard and $449 for the Pro. Not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but they look like they're going to continue being some of the most solid watches on the market. At this point, let's turn to phones because we have the Galaxy Z Flip 4. And at first glance, you're going to notice that they look really, really similar to the Z Flip 3, right? The hinge has allowed them to be a little bit thinner and a little bit lighter. The battery is also a few hundred milliamp hours bigger, which should help with one of the biggest problems that the Z Flip 3 had, which was the battery just didn't last very long. So it seems like they've tried to address that a little bit. The camera sensors are similar, although they are apparently a little bit improved. The pixels are actually a little bit larger. The camera bumps are a little bit bigger, so perhaps we're packing a slightly larger sensor in on this version of the Flip. So the camera was kind of mediocre before, maybe it'll be a little bit better than mediocre now. We're looking at $999, so the price actually has not really changed, even though the rumors were that the price was actually going to go up. For whatever reason, they've been able to keep the price about in the same place. We're looking at IPX8 rating, which makes it the only water-resistant foldable phone, so that's a really cool feature. I don't think I'd be dropping the thing into my swimming pool, but you know, if you're out in the rain, it's rain, something like that, probably going to be totally fine. We've got Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on the back side. Now, apparently the internal screen, the folding screen, is even more durable. They continue to improve on that as years go by. If you have been following this, you may have noticed a lot of people who have had quote-unquote broken screens on their Flip 3 and Fold 3 actually have just had cracked screen protectors, because those things are somewhat kind of glass-like, so they actually can crack over time as well. Apparently that is something that they have attempted to address. We are looking at the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and the Galaxy Z Flip 4, as well as 8 gigabytes of RAM. So this thing is going to be absolutely top of the line for what exists right now. But right now, that's really about all we can say about the Flip 4. There's not a lot of changes going on there. It's very, very similar. Now, with the Fold 4, there is a little bit more to say. So, the device itself is going to be, again, thinner and lighter. I think it's like 15 or 20 grams lighter than before, something in that range. The device itself is also going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit wider. We've talked about this quite a bit in terms of the rumors. Now, the cover display, if I can find a good shot of it here, will actually see a big improvement in my eyes, because this bezel here where the hinge has been reworked is going to be smaller, which allows it to be a wider screen with the same footprint more or less. So it's a little bit shorter, a little bit wider. Smaller bezel on the cover means it's even wider than that. So using apps on that cover display should be better than it was before, where all these apps were super, super narrow and skinny. They're still going to be narrow and skinny, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a little bit better. With no trade-in, you are looking at $17.99, so that is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, although you do get this nice standing cover, which does come with the S Pen. At least that's what it says, with S Pen. I'm assuming that that is in there as well. For $89, I would hope that it would be, but it is free, so it will be included with this device. I'll leave a few things on here, but they've done a lot of work in terms of the multitasking. They've moved the taskbar to the bottom, which I think is going to be very, very interesting and a nice improvement, something that is coming over from Android 12L, that placement. Once again, you've got Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on board, although it's important to note, no water resistance at all still for this device. The under-display camera, which would be somewhere in this region, is apparently going to be harder to see, but it is the same camera sensor as before, 4 megapixels, and early samples do not look good. So it's going to be harder to see, but probably just as hard to want to use. In terms of the other cameras, though, we're seeing a pretty big improvement here. So we're getting a 50 megapixel primary, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, which is capable of 30x space zoom, which you're probably never going to want to use. I would expect the camera in general to be something like the S22 Plus, because the specs are pretty much in line with that. So still not S22 Ultra range, but maybe just a step below that. The Z Fold 4 will also use the new Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, but it will have 12 gigabytes of RAM, which you definitely are going to need for all that multitasking goodness that you're about to put that device through. So there you go. That is what was announced today. You got a new Flip, a new Fold, a new watch, and a new set of earbuds. Should you be interested in purchasing any of this stuff, I will have affiliate links in the description and in the pinned comment below. Please do use those links if you're going to make the purchase, because it will definitely help support this channel and help finance the fact that I am buying the Fold 4. I'm going to trade my Fold 2 in for the Fold 4 so that I can bring you guys coverage of how this device compares to something like the Surface Duo 2. How does that multitasking improvement actually stack up against the multitasking king, of course, being the Surface Duo 2. More videos will be coming. I'll have a quick preview of some of the changes of the multitasking features coming out very, very soon as well. So subscribe so that you don't miss any of that. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.